The examiner would ask you the question once again. You would say, please repeat. The third time, please repeat. This way we would be spending more than half of the interview time. This question is on the mind of every IELTS test taker, that whether you can request the examiner to repeat the question or not. Today's video is going to answer this, so just follow and watch the complete video. You're watching YouTube channel Raman's Coaching, and I'm your IELTS expert Ramandeep Singh, and you will find here hundreds and hundreds of videos that would help you in your IELTS test preparation and answer most of the questions on your mind. Well, the answer to this question is very simple, and the answer is yes. If somebody says that you are not allowed to request the examiner, he or she is wrong. Even if we talk in our regional language, sometimes we do not understand what the person has said, so we often request, may you repeat? या पंजाबी च कह लिए बिरे की क्या सीगा? You know what I mean? So in this case, you definitely have the right to request the examiner to please repeat the question. I request you to keep a nice phrase to request the examiner. For example, would you mind to please repeat the question, or would you mind to repeat the question? I beg your pardon. Please repeat the question for me. Or if there is something that you find trouble with, and by any chance you find these phrases too long or difficult, or they do not come naturally, you sound like would you mind to repeat? Don't do things like this. Simply say pardon please. Now, yes, you have the right to request the examiner to please repeat the question. And now the another question is that how many times you can request the examiner? 2 times, 3 times, 4 times? I would say that it shouldn't sound intentional. It had happened to me itself when I was taking my IELTS exam long time ago when I moved to Australia. At that time, I still remember I requested the examiner to repeat the question 3 times, and she did, and finally I was able to answer. So it shouldn't sound intentional. Otherwise, every time a question is being posed, you would be saying, please repeat. The examiner would ask you the question once again. You would say, please repeat. The third time, please repeat. This way we would be spending more than half of the interview time in just repeating the questions. So I hope you understand. It would be a negative after a certain number of times. So I would say 2 is the maximum. But where it exactly happens, you would fail to understand the question, and the chances are very high that happens in the part 3, that is follow-ups. So here I request, rather than requesting the examiner to please repeat the question, say, would you please rephrase the question for me? I believe nobody have ever told you about this thing, but it is one of the advantage that the IELTS test takers have. In case they do not understand the question at all, they can ask the examiner to rephrase with a different choice of English words to make it easier for you to understand. So here the examiner can rephrase the question so that you can understand in a better way, and of course then you would definitely be in the position to answer the question. So all I recommend you is that in case you do not understand the question, straight away do not answer or give the wrong answer. It would incur a huge loss to you. Rather, request the examiner to repeat the question, and in case you fail to understand the second time, you may request to rephrase. But in the part 1, you cannot ask to rephrase. For example, can you tell me about your hometown? So what would be the rephrasal of such a simple question? However, in part 3, they may use some language. For example, do you think that people these days lead an unhealthy lifestyle intentionally? So maybe few of you fail to understand it. So here you have the right to request the examiner to rephrase it or put it in a simpler language. Well, this is pretty much all. I hope I answered the question that was there on your mind, and now you will help others by sharing the accurate information regarding the same. Thanks for watching the video. Bye bye for now.